So tonight, thank you all for coming tonight. This is our second open house to discuss downtown events and street closures. For those of you who are new or didn't come to the January 6th event, this is an opportunity or a chance that the city is taking to deliberately, intentionally work with the community to develop a downtown event and procedure and policy so that the community has an opportunity to, on January 6th, we talked about the opportunities and the challenges of downtown events. And now we're kind of circling back. We've drafted, again, these are all drafts, so that's why we're here for input on these drafts, a procedure and policy, and then we've also drafted an application for downtown events. So we tried to take what we heard on January 6th and then put it into these documents. So tonight we're going to walk through, we're going to do two things tonight. First of all, we're going to spend some time kind of hitting the highlights of the downtown policy and procedure and doing that feedback session. And the second thing is doing do a test run of a planning session. So the feedback session is, I'm going to just present briefly in case people hadn't gotten a chance to see these documents. We have some copies of them, hard copies on the back, and we also have digital copies online. You can get to them if you go to the Facebook event page. We're going to just hit the highlights, and then we're going to open it up for discussion. And we want your general comments, but there are a few things that we're going to specifically be asking of you, and we'll get to that in a minute. So the second part of the evening is we're going to test run an idea that came out of the January 6th event, and that is this idea of a planning session. Downtown events come and present what they're thinking about for their event, the layout, the hours they're thinking, the resources from the city they may need, what activities are happening, kind of those bigger pieces of it. And then the downtown stakeholders have a chance to give them feedback. And it's really meant to be a working session and a session to find creative solutions. So if there's an issue to be addressed, that there's also a solution handed with that issue so that we can work together to figure out how to make this event successful and also not have a negative impact on downtown stakeholders. And also it's an opportunity for events to share and help businesses to realize how they can most take advantage of the event. What strategies can they use to engage with the event goers. So those are the two different things we're going to do tonight. As always, there are discussion ground rules, so we'll just remind you of that. And then also to note, we're recording this via video, and this is something we're testing the quality in the hopes that we can share it later on. So we hope to be transparent with these discussions, and I'm also recording the audio as well, so I can capture your feedback genuinely and verbatim so that I can make sure I don't misunderstand or misremember something. So if you have any issues with that, I just want to be upfront that we are recording. Does that all seem good? Are we all clear about what's going on tonight? Okay, good. Okay, so let's just jump right in to this policy and procedure. So we created a policy document that has a procedure on the back. And it's some of the things I just want to highlight is we include in it at the top the different benefits related to downtown events. But more, what I want to emphasize is the point of creating this policy and procedure is to create a fair and consistent process to coordinate review and approval of resources. And by resources, I mean the use of these city-owned resources. We want this process to be not only transparent but reproducible. So every time an event and the downtown stakeholders can rely on the process, an opportunity that this process is going to happen and they can rely on it. And this is to make sure that we ensure that the events are beneficial to all downtown stakeholders as much as possible. We recognize that downtown is a complex space. It's a place we want to use. It's used by businesses, by downtown residents, by downtown workers, by the people who come and have events by our community members. We recognize the complexity of this, and this policy and procedure is desperately trying to create a place for that complexity to exist, but that that there are ways for all of those stakeholders to be involved. So just to talk a little bit about what this pertains to, what the scope of this policy and procedure is. This is the part, what we consider downtown, the historic district. And again, these are all events that use city resources. So street closures, electricity that's used, garbage cans, if they reserve a Parks and Rec asset like the farmer's market or the lot, if they need police security or some sort of public safety, anything that requires city resources. So an example of something that would not be covered under this policy currently is like the downtown shop small event that happens, because that's really just in the businesses. There may be a welcome tent, but the Main Street McMinnville is not reserving all of the lot that day. They just are setting up a table. They don't need it to be an exclusive space. Or the downtown cleanup is another example. Those are types of events that are not necessarily going to need to come forward and ask for permission, at least as we've conceived of it at this point. Okay, and one final thing. The statement of standard, I want to point out there, this, what we are saying with this policy is that we're requiring event organizers to open up dialogue with downtown stakeholders to go through the approval process. It's the first part of the approval process, and also to provide basic information about their event to the city, to the staff, so that we can take a review of it and really look at making sure that the resources being used, that they're available, that they're going to be used efficiently and optimized, and that and just in how we can help. Maybe the event is new to downtown, and we can help you to help an event realize there are different ways to use downtown, or perhaps a better use. Maybe it's better located at the farmers market. There's at least an opportunity for that conversation. And ultimately, by having staff review applications, the Board of Mayor and Aldermen can make a more informed decision about whether to approve the use of city resources. Okay, any questions about that? It's a lot of policy. Any questions? Okay, so we're gonna go down to the actual procedure. Okay. So you'll notice there are two paths, and I'll touch on that in just a minute. Let's go up to the very top. It says the first thing that this policy, or one of the key highlights of this policy and procedure, is that it creates a specific person within the city who hasn't been designated yet, but there'll be one person that an event organizer will work with to kind of get shepherded through the whole process. Yes?
Is that going to be a new position?
No,
for the city,
it's just someone. At this point, it's just someone taking on that role. Because we don't have so many events to warrant a new position.
Right.
We are using taxpayer dollars efficiently. I can guarantee that. So this event coordinator will be with you from soup to nuts. So they will be the person you reach out to for information. They will be the person that kind of gets your application that you can go to for questions, that even downtown stakeholders, businesses, if they have a concern about the process, or they want to know when an event's going to be on the board agenda or whatever, they can reach out to that person, and they know to reach out to that person, and that person is their job to be that liaison. Okay, so the way this process kind of kicks off is the recognition that we need this communication, an opportunity for downtown stakeholders to take part, or to work with event organizers in order to make the event successful, but also that they don't have a negative impact on downtown stakeholders. So that's that next line. Right now we kind of envision it like January, May, August, there are dates that are these set planning sessions, and events would come to these dates and present, and then you'll see later on, we're not going to go completely through the application, but there's a line item in the application where you mark, I went to this a date. Now, right now, there's nothing, we don't have a kind of backstop in the sense of if you miss one of those meetings and your event's coming up, we haven't figured out a solution for what to do with that. So if you have any ideas, let us know. But for right now, this idea is that you're required to speak with downtown stakeholders, and this is the mechanism that we have came out of the January 6th is a great way to do it. So once you have your feedback session, you fill out your application. So we have hard copies now. We're going to work on getting, at least in the short term, a PDF that's fillable, so you can do it on your computer and send it in and not have to print it out. And then potentially in the long term, have a platform where you just enter it all in and you don't have to even deal with a PDF. And so that application has the key parts. It has kind of general information and a checklist where you indicate all the aspects of your event. It has a place for identifying street closure needs, a public safety plan, that you talk to downtown stakeholders, any garbage collection needs, and then venue and equipment reservation. So those are the big sections of that application. And we'll run through it in just a minute, but we won't go by line by line. So then next, you get the application to the coordinator, and then it's that person's job to get it in front of the department heads who would be responsible for different aspects of, or different resources. So Public Works, Police, Urban Forestry, and Parks and Recreation. So they would get it to those contacts in those departments to review it. If there are any questions, the DEC would get back to you, to the event organizer, to get those questions sorted out. And also they would look at the notes from the planning session to make sure any feedback that you got from the session that was agreed upon would be kind of folded into your new plan. So just to check to see that if there were agreements made, that you've included them in your new plan or in your plan for your event. So this is where we get to the different paths. If you just want something that's rentable, chairs, the stage, you just want to rent the lot and you're happy paying the rental fee, you can just pay it and then you're done. You've got everything you need to do your event. If you want to use garbage containers or ask for relief from rental fees, reservation fees, or if you want to close the street, then your application would go on to the board for approval because they would be the ones to approve that. Thinking that things that already have kind of a price tag already attached to them, staff can kind of go ahead, like you would reach out to Scott to book a farmer's market, just like now, you know. You can go ahead and get those things taken care of and you know that they're yours for that day. But if you want anything that requires board approval, the DEC would help work with administration staff to get you on the next board meeting and get you on the agenda. And then you would follow kind of what we are, kind of some of you already gone through, where you come up to the board meeting, you're on the agenda, they ask you questions, they may make adjustments, and then they ultimately will approve or not approve or table based on if there's some issue. But the whole idea is that by the time your application gets to the board, there's no negotiation at the board meeting. You know what you're bringing to them. They have it, and it's gone through staff, it's gone through discussion with the stakeholders. It should just be an approval unless there's some question or something that was missed. So that I think some of us have been up on that podium trying, and they're like asking us questions, and we're realizing we need different assets, or maybe they're asking us to optimize the assets and resources that we're asking for. Well, we will have it all sorted out. So you know when you know the board can be informed about with confidence they can approve, and they feel like they know what your event's about. They feel like they know that it's going to be a positive event for downtown, and they feel like if there is a negative impact, we've done everything we can to avoid it having a negative impact on downtown stakeholders. So ultimately, it's a successful event for everyone. And then the other thing that we've added into is that idea about when there's an event, a street closure, putting out signs in the planters to say, on this date, a week ahead, we put out signs, on this date, there'll be a street closure, so that your customers, if you're a downtown business owner, or if you're you live downtown, or whatever it may be, you work downtown, you're aware that there'll be a street closure, and you can plan accordingly. You're supported in that plan, and you could also reach out to the city if you have questions about where you can park and all that.
Can they put like what the street closure is for?
We'll try. I think that would be my
Especially
goal.
like the events that happen year after year, just, you
Yeah.
know, make a little sign and say the street closure is for this. That way you're advertising and people know, you know, what's going on.
Yeah. Well, that's my goal to strive for that, and I will only say, the only thing that keeps me from saying yes, Joe, is we would want those signs to be reusable.
Right.
And so figuring out how do we, you know, maybe it's just a marker, we can write on a new marker every time or something like that. But that's the only thing that's in my head, why I can't say.
Or like all the
100%
street
yes.
fair and like the ones that's been here for 3, you know, that's, they're still to come back.
Right, no, I got you, but we don't want 100 signs, you know, 10 for on street fair, 10 for whatever. We wanna be able to have those reusable. So maybe we can work together on figuring
Well,
that
it's
out.
something that, well, they know what's going on, why the streets are closed.
Right, exactly, yeah.
It could be part of the, request that you do a fee to
Yeah.
the signs.
Get signs, that's
Yeah.
true, like in the application.
That way that's more advertisement, which will
Right.
help, it'll help everybody out that way.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna take that note. Go ahead, Chris.
I have one comment, and then I have one 3-part question.
Okay,
One comment is that everything you described in this,
Uh-huh.
we already do when we send the letter to the city to get on the agenda to meet with the mayor.
well, do you, have you seen the application?
Yes, we've read, and we send everything detailed in a full letter.
Well,
So that they
not
know
all
what's-
events do. You do give a lot, and I think that this is asking a little bit more than what could fit in a letter. And also, it also has that component of, I know that we talked about at the January 6th meeting, there wasn't a tried and true mechanism for talking to downtown businesses. I mean, it took up your time to walk door to door to door to door to talk to them, and sometimes they're not there. If we can have a different mechanism to have that downtown stakeholder conversation, so that's part of the agenda and part of this procedure as well.
Okay, that leads into my next question.
Okay, hit me.
How many people here are representing an event gonna be held downtown? Can I see a show of hands of who's representing an event downtown? Or can I see a show of hands of who elected officials or something to do with the city that's here for that reason? Who's here representing downtown businesses? I rest my case. I'm not being mean, but
Yeah,
last time you had 40 people in here, now you've got 2.
that's right.
They don't care enough to come to the meeting, but they care enough to gripe to y'all and make all of us who are trying to raise money for a charity and do good for this community show up and spend more of our time and resources to come here. And there's just 2 here now.
And how's this helping them?
This is not, this whole thing you've got going on here is not helping them at all. And I'm not being mean. I'm just saying that the whole proposal y'all brought up only puts more time on us, only to do more for that we can't take time for the event. That it's not solving the problem that Joe or her are having or complaining. And I'm not calling them that, they're on 2 here. So everything that's went on here, I'm sorry I don't see it. Because you're down to 2 people, just like when we said at the mayor and board off meeting last year, when they brought it up about us having a rain date on June the 22nd, there wasn't even nobody there that was representing. We go to every meeting. We're here tonight. I took off work to be here tonight. They don't even come.
There's a lot of small businesses that don't have extra people to take off to do that too.
I work for myself.
So does
My
most
business don't
businesses
run.
downtown.
It's
Well,
5 o'clock in the afternoon.
I think that what we're trying to do, and you're right, isn't a large representation here, but this is also kind of, when we get to that planning session, it'll be the first one. And
Well, I
we're
can tell you
taking
this,
on,
if y'all put this much time, and I'm not being mean, but if you put this much time and effort, what's went on to do all this, into helping some of these charities in this town, they'd raise a lot more money, feed a lot more people, and do a lot more for cancer and everything else that's up here being represented in this.
thank you. Let me just finish what I was saying, and that is, I think, what we at the city want to ensure is that we create an opportunity where if they're not here, they miss their opportunity to give you feedback. Joe is here and Misty's here representing Evelyn Taylor Avenue. They're here to give you feedback. They're taking an opportunity taking hold of this opportunity to work with event organizers to make their events have not a negative impact on downtown and help to address some of the issues that they're worried about. They want to work with the events. And what I'm hoping is that by creating a space for which there can be a dialogue, then hopefully once people learn that's the only way that they can give dialogue, we're giving them the space in which to work with events, then it will catch on and more people will realize it's part of the process.
So does
I
that mean,
think
does that
any
mean we have to?
process, let me just finish.
Okay.
Any process that's new is gonna take time to grow and to be used.
So does that mean we have to come to more of these meetings since they didn't show up for these? We have to
We're
come back
just
to
doing
these?
this one, there would just be one, so I think you guys aren't presenting tonight, right? So Carla is gonna present, Darlene's gonna present, and Amanda and Julie are gonna present for JA. This is their one chance, this
I
is,
do want to speak when it's our time. I'm not gonna present, but I would like to speak.
this is their chance to present and have an opportunity for everyone to give feedback on their event. And in addition to the, business owners, also, we have aldermen here and we have, department heads to also help these events, so they're optimizing their resources, as well. So then we'll move through the process of the application. So I understand this is about getting feedback, but I did wanna just share, maybe we could test this a little bit, stress test it a little bit, and if it's not working, we can move on to another idea. Is that fair?
Yes.
Here's the only problem is we're out of time. I already have my sponsors sold by the end of January. Y'all, we're stopping feeding people in this community because of what's going on right now. When I have to wait 2 more weeks or another month, what's that gonna do to Meals on Wheels? Who's gonna step up and replace the dollars we're losing?
I don't think that I think it still needs to be adopted. Once we get the feedback from tonight and we adopt this,
But you've not approved nobody else yet, so how can we sell a sponsor? We usually sell our sponsors at January 1st because people start giving their money to different charities. So we hit them first. So we're 30 days into not getting none of our sponsors because everybody's been in front of the board so far has been tabled.
So
So-
the question is, by the end of tonight, if the people choose to present and ask tonight, will they know tonight whether they can hold their event this year?
No.
Okay,
So
that answers the
Takes care of
question.
it.
Yeah, that takes care of it.
Well, what we're doing is we're going ahead and selling our sponsorships
Are you
and
saying you won't have your event if you got turned down?
because we're gonna have
There
our
would be
event
no
held
back to the strip.
I'm not
regardless.
saying there will be no back strip, but there won't be nothing downtown. And part of, I speak for O'Reilly's. O'Reilly sponsors us $2,500 every year because of the car show. That's their main sponsor. They sponsor all of our trophies, all of our gift bags, all of our, what we call them? The
Door
door
prizes.
prizes, all of that stuff is sponsored.
We're
All of it.
fixing
They
to
probably
lose
put over
thousands of
$5,000 out
But
to.
you-
We are
Like, we
beyond our
can
deadline to
still do
apply for
our
rides.
race regardless of if it's downtown or not.
Yeah.
We've done it in Morrison, we've done it in Civic Center, there's other places,
Well,
that you can hold the event. So we're going ahead and selling our sponsorships and we'll go on with the race regardless. We prefer to have it downtown because it's beautiful and
what,
people like it, we
What-
already
what-
have a route and all that, but we can continue on with our race if something happened that we didn't get
we
approved.
will have the strip mall, period.
We will continue.
But as far as waiting on approval down here and trying to sell our
We can't.
sponsors, I mean, we're talking about another 30 days. Our event's May the 2nd.
Because when we're selling a sponsorship and I call you, if you're one of my best sponsors who happens to have show cars sitting in his driveway, along with getting his money, I'm reserving you spots. I have to throw things at you to get money. We live in a society today that sometimes it's not just about what you're giving, it's about what you're getting back for it. And most of the people that I call want some kind of a little perk for it. And I don't know what I can tell them I can give them.
We hear you. We know you all want to be downtown. We know that you want, to be getting on with your events, and we're just trying to figure out this process because we think it will make it easier going forward. So I'm sorry on the timing that it interferes. We tried to get it going as fast as possible. But I'm sorry that it interferes with your sponsorship and all that, but I hope that you will, we're just trying to get this figured out so that next year and going forward, we can have a smoother process.
We've invited everyone So it's supposed to be for everyone. Everyone has an opportunity to come here and voice their opinion. So that's your answer for everyone.
Okay, that's what I,
If they don't show up, that's their problem.
but I'm saying that you're saying that all this is to make everything easier. for
That's the
who?
purpose, for everyone.
For
Okay.
next year, not this year. for
I
next year. This
understand
year-
what you're saying.
Everyone's invited, so everyone can be represented.
But, okay, the same thing last year when we put this in front of the board, it goes out in the paper, on the radio, and it's put on the thing up there. I'm trying not to be mean, but if they cared enough, wouldn't they walk down there and see what was on the agenda to know what's getting approved?
But at this point, how's any of this helping the downtown businesses that started this whole problem? How are we helping Joe and Collins and Barbecue? How's this gonna fix it?
Well, in my thinking and hearing you guys, you're not saying our events for this year are canceled. We still have our dates. We're still in.
Yeah.
This is just trying to improve for next year. And, yeah, but we're here. So my June 6th date is in, not that I don't have to come back before the board for a couple of questions. Their event, May 2nd, is in. You know,
But it's not, everybody just shook their head no when that was asked a while ago. When she just asked that
And I said,
question,
will we have the answer tonight?
and all of the aldermen
They said no.
shook their head no, I'm standing in the back purposely so I could watch.
Can we fast pace these events coming up now and then,
We can try, but I think that's a question for, I'm not quite sure what that mechanism is on what you all wanna adopt or what you wanna see the feedback.
I can tell you this, our timing sucked of
Yeah.
not doing this.
Yes,
Okay?
sir. Right.
That's,
Yes, sir.
just get that out
can
of
we
the way.
fast pace the one that's already in and then hit the ground running?
for
We should-
January,
We should have done it sooner, we didn't anticipate everybody coming to us when they did. Be that as it may, I'm like you, I think that we ought to try to streamline this, and we will over time. But what we've gotta do is have our meeting next week, or week after next. Approve this, or even not, if we don't approve it, it still doesn't make any difference, we're gonna have to give you guys answers up or down, and they're gonna be up. I know that for a fact. I mean, not for a fact, but I know it, we're not gonna turn anybody down on something like this, because our timing was just not very good. Okay? And we can't hold you guys up any longer. And, you know, I'm only one vote on there, but I can tell you this, I think there's other people on there that think, let's get this over with. Let's go ahead and do what we gotta do this year, and then we'll
The plan for next year.
time frame to work on it later on. I mean, as we're going, it's not like we're putting it off.
But that was not how it was presented to the event holders either. Because like Mary says, we're 30 days behind schedule.
I mean, I'm
Already.
I think we told you when everybody came up that we thought there was probably gonna be no problem, but we were trying to get this thing into place. That's what we told everybody, that we didn't see any problem, but we wanted to try to get this in place so that, you know, we could have some kind of way of doing this that was fair to everybody.
I tried to stay in very close contact, Katie and I talked, I let her know 2 weeks ago when this meeting was planned, what the severity of the time frame is for me. Right now, I can't get medals ordered for the 5K, y'all was to tell me tonight. So that's $5,000 that we've lost from Meals on Wheels, right off the bat, because we made $5,000 profit off the 5K. Y'all, I don't know about y'all, but feeding the elderly in this community is very passionate to me. You should be able to tell. I cannot keep on dragging my feet. I can't. I want to throw up my hands and walk away and say, you know what, I'm done. I offered my notebook to Joe and said, pick up my shoes and see what it's like, because my business gives a lot to do this for Meals on Wheels, a lot. But I can't walk away. My conscience won't let me. My heart won't let me. These people need the food. I'm talking about a very small meal that we feed these people, 200 of them every day right here in our community.
Meals on Wheels lost $35,000 contract last year from Upper Cumberland. I don't know if y'all know this, but the Meals on Wheels got subbed out to feed people, and Upper Cumberland paid them $35,000 to give these meals to people. Well, they pulled that contract from them, and now we're sending these people frozen meals on their own. So Meals on Wheels lost all of that money, so they was down $35,000 last year. And it's not just about Meals on Wheels, it's about every event, because if you're Darlene or you're Carlos, you're as passionate about that as you are anything, and it's just like y'all are passionate about trying to get this worked out and stuff.
So what can be our best case scenario of knowing for sure that Carla will be able to do her event, Back to the Strip will be able to do their event
2 weeks from the last Thursday, or last Tuesday.
2 weeks from last Tuesday?
So
So
is
we're
that the
almost.
day
Yeah.
that we're going to be there with you?
We've gotta make a decision on it. Like I
I
said,
mean,
you're-
and where I was going with this before I stopped right there is for the past 2 weeks, I've been beating the streets on the strip. Because I feel like Back to the Strip is not wanted downtown. And so I've been going to businesses on the strip saying, do you want this, do you want this event to continue? Because I'm feeling like downtown don't feel that way. The businesses throwed a fit last year, there was one that was straight up ugly, and now then all this is going on, and the time frame is getting so far drug out, do we just need to throw our hands up and walk away?
Well, and I would say to that, again, we're working with a time frame that isn't optimized, but we're doing our best to make it work for right now. And again, once we have this in place, going forward, we'll have it in place. It can be tweaked, it can be shortened and streamlined, all of that. But I would say that to your concern about people not wanting you downtown, I mean, that's what the whole point of these planning sessions are supposed to be, is that you don't have to walk up and down the streets talking to people. If they can just you all come into one meeting. Now again, it's underrepresented now, but I think we should give it a chance to grow, to see if we can get it to grow, so that in future years, this is a time for you to talk with business owners directly, get their feedback, and hear their positive energy or hear their negative energy, either one. But it's a chance for you guys to come together and talk, because you're already trying to talk to them. So we're just trying to create a process that includes that in the approval process.
Okay, but the group I've been talking to has nothing to do with downtown.
So you're not talking to downtown business owners.
I've not been, no. I've been looking for my next option. I have to be able to move forward with my event.
Well, and I think we all want this event to happen. If it doesn't happen downtown because it doesn't fit your schedule, your schedule is different than this process, I think that's okay. Move it to where you need it to be, and then maybe next year you can have this be
And
part
I
of
think that's
this
the
process.
answer, is y'all feel like you would rather just move on.
No, I'm feeling like what I'm hearing from you is that you need to be able to have something secured so that you can talk to your sponsors. Because of this process right now, downtown isn't a place that, like Everett said, again, you're unless there's some small thing that needs to be tweaked, you're gonna be downtown, you've been approved essentially downtown. It's been tabled, but it's just to go through this process.
So
What I just, let me finish what I was
No, go
just
ahead, I'm
saying,
sorry.
is that if you really feel like you need to know exactly where you're gonna be 100%, you don't want a conditional yes, you wanna just have it, that sounds like that's what your timeline is right now. And that's not kicking you out of downtown or not trying to communicate we don't want you here, that's just recognizing that you wanna be able to say confidently to your sponsors, we're gonna be here on May 5th and we want you to be part of it. And we recognize that you need to have that certainty.
Don't let your urgency
Yeah.
about getting downtown, getting your event approved, affect this, okay? We'll worry about getting this streamlined as we go, but we've got to make some decisions at the next meeting. And
And that's 10 days.
I'm one vote out of 7,
Right.
but I would certainly push to go ahead and approve people if they've already done something downtown and we've had some dealings with it. It may not be happy for everybody. Let's do it now because our timing was terrible, and let's get them out from under this urgency, and then we can work on this thing.
So realistically, everyone will know within 10 days, at the end of 10 days, when you said the next meeting was.
I said we would.
We're
discuss
trying,
it.
right, we're trying. Hopefully, we have an answer within 10 days. And then next year, we know going in that it's going to be a 30-day process.
It may be, for a repeat thing, I'd say it's probably gonna be
Less than that.
probably way less than that.
Well,
Okay,
keep
I'm
in
with
mind, as long as, and that's what
As long
we're
as
here
everybody
to,
plays nice. I mean,
Well, yeah.
you go through the process.
So, and with that segue, I wanna get back to this, and this conversation about, and I wanna maybe just give us just a few more minutes talking about this so that we're not here all night and these guys can start to present. But are there any other, comments about this actual policy and procedure?
Katie,
Yes, ma'am.
the downtown event coordinator, will there be a number or something that we can call that person, like, air race, we'll be down here at 6 o'clock Saturday morning, and we come before and maybe the electricity wasn't turned on, and we're having to try to get people out of there and try to find out who contact, come down and turn.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
so
that's
will that
okay.
person be responsible for things like that?
We hadn't discussed it, but I think that's definitely something we can consider, and certainly we'll consider and get back to you on that. And maybe, you know, that person's probably not gonna be able to turn on the electricity, so, but we'll get an answer to you on that, and I love that idea, having like an on-call person.
Right, okay, so we've heard from Everett, we've got Ms. Rachel here and Steve here, do y'all feel the same way, do y'all feel like we can go forward, or do we still have to wait for this? I mean,
For the
she's-
30
I mean, do we
days.
think it's gonna pass, that your event will pass?
Yes,
I think so.
I
We
mean,
just needed, the whole reason this got started, because we just needed some kind of guidelines, because
there's so much.
there's a lot of these requests, and you start closing downtown so many times to the point where it's a big problem. It's a problem.
Yes.
I mean, there's no way around it. So we gotta have some kind of balance, and this just, the whole reason this got started was to have a process that you go through that helps us decide what works and what doesn't. I mean, but yeah, I
And
mean,
smaller
and especially this time,
Yeah.
this first time, I mean, I'm like Everett, I don't see any reason, most of these are not gonna go through. If you want my opinion, that's my opinion, but there's just, there's gotta be some sort of way that we don't close the streets down more than we need to. I mean,
I've got lots of suggestions too. I've
um,
got lots of suggestions too, if anybody wants, that map you draw, there's several places that we can use that we're not utilizing. That you still get touched by Main Street, but you still have some of that back parking, you can have your events too.
And the
Well, and I
farmer's market and things like that.
Let's get
If they're
this
smaller, they can tighten up.
business over with and everybody being upset about not getting their dates, okay? That's our fault, it's on us, and we'll try to remedy that at the next meeting. Now it's a matter of refining this thing, and, I mean, that's my opinion on the thing, and again, I'm like Steve, I'm like Rachel, we're one vote on the thing, but I think that right now, we've put you guys up against the wall where you need to know. So
Okay.
let's get you, going.
So, can I just address, Joe's thing, and then I'll get back, and just to your point, Joe, about, so in the, application, we've actually segmented downtown up, and the whole point of going through the application is an event to indicate where they plan to be, and then it's a chance for us staff to be like, well, you're to see, oh, you really are just gonna be in Court Square and E. Well, that means that North Spring Street can still be open. We don't have to close all of Main Street. It's a chance to really hone in on those areas of downtown and then potentially suggest, like, oh wow, you're spread all over Main Street. Why don't you just condense into this one part? And it's a point of conversation. So, Joe, if you think that this is a good way to start having those conversations about optimizing and streamlining.
That's what I wanna do, I mean, we can all work together here, if we just figure it out, I mean,
Yeah.
there's so much space here.
Go to Ann, since she had her hand up first.
Just one thing, I think as far as next year, the question on that, what it looks like with this application, if you would have time periods, that if you were gonna have a event, if you had advertised in January, it looks like on that you would meet in, 3 months before, it's like a quarterly meeting.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't wait until January, you need to sell events in January. It looks like that's what you're going for, so.
I would even do 6
Yeah.
months out to
6, yeah.
12 months out. The
Yeah,
longer you can do
absolutely.
it, that way you have time to advertise and get your
Yeah, it
sponsors.
looks like you're thinking about everything,
and all
so I think
that.
that's great, so I don't think the stress should be taken out of that.
It should be at least 12
future.
months, that way you got plenty of time to
Yeah.
meet.
So I think we came up, and these dates dates are just.
I think you did 4 months.
We did 3 sessions, but we could even add one to be to be in the fall or in the winter or whatever, but that's what we were thinking, to your
Yeah,
point, is
good
that
point.
there's a chance, if you know you're gonna be in, May of this year, or June of this year, come to the January one, or we can put it, or the August, or we can even put something in, or somewhere in between, or whatever, so it's not such a long
But
wait.
you say about 4 months ahead of your event, that's just unrealistic. It needs to be 6 months to a year. I mean, really, if you're gonna plan something pretty
6 months.
substantial.
Well, I mean, Darlene knows every year roughly when she's gonna do it,
she's
so
doing-
that's not a big deal.
And again, I
Yeah.
think too, like, if you
But for like
have,
first year events or something, you know?
Yes,
Yeah.
I know, yes.
okay, so, but I'm gonna write down your comment, Joe, and I'm gonna add a date in the winter sometime.
And what about starting a stockholders board?
So talk me through that idea.
We'll have maybe two restaurants, 2 retail,
Like
2
the-
other businesses, and they all, instead of the people trying to come to you and talk to you and see this, we have a meeting once or something like that or something, or we come to y'all's first meeting with the city and sit down. That way, they're not having to chase everybody around to see if we like it or don't like it. We have a board, if they have problems, they come to the board, if, on city business. I think that
So
would
you're
eliminate a
saying-
lot of stuff.
I just wanna make sure I'm understanding what you're saying. You're saying like a, kind of a committee or board of downtown stakeholders
Stakeholders,
that is
and have a
kind of-
mixture of businesses.
and that's like and then events would go to them, is that what you're saying?
Well, you said, on your thing, it says, seek out the stakeholders and see what they think about it.
Right.
This will give them they can meet with the board and have 2 different restaurants, that way you have more people involved, like, Evelyn and, restaurant. That way,
And what if that board that was just the people we made sure were at these meetings so that they could,
you could
that's,
pick, y'all could pick them, that's fine too.
yeah, but okay, so you're saying maybe every year there are like downtown representatives that, it's that they should be at these meetings and
Yes.
that they are kind of a representative voice.
Mhm.
Okay. And then, of course, if other businesses wanted to come or whatever, they could come as well.
Right.
Okay, any other things? Any other feedback? We didn't really go through the agenda or through the application.
Could you roll it back down, please, to where the board or the department is, that there's part of it, the department heads could sign off on, if there's certain conditions existed or did not. And if it's on my mind, I was just gonna suggest.
Is this what you're talking about? Or you mean in the policy?
Yes.
Alright, I think that I didn't include that in this
Right
one.
there, where it says, if the event wants to close streets, use of garbage containers, ask for relief from rental fees, could we add in that if there are on-street parking restrictions?
Okay. So like if you don't want,
If you rented the lot
okay,
and you wanted to reserve parking spots on a Saturday afternoon, or you wanted them not to be used, and
For
the police have to come in and make people move or tow their vehicles, I can blame Steve Harden for it.
parking spot,
Sure.
okay. Okay, I got it. Any other feedback?
I know this is a draft, but
Yeah.
as an organization, we have a rotating member base.
Uh-huh,
And so something like this may not seem necessary for those of us who are always the chairs of an event, but for a group like ours that rotates,
yeah,
event coordinators and chairs, this is nice because we know now that 10 years from now, one of our new members can walk in and pick up,
have this,
have a good even timeline and methodology to go about
that's great.
accessing this area.
Creating some sort of institutional knowledge that's being passed down.
Yes, that's helpful, so thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments about the policy procedure? Okay, I don't see any, so I say, email me if you have any other thoughts or the application, take a look at it. And especially you event organizers are guinea pigs for the application, so please wear it out, break it out, tell me what's wrong with it. And I will send you a fillable PDF of it tomorrow so that you can start to fill it in. So with that, we're gonna switch to the planning session part of this thing. So the way we have envisioned this is to, I'm gonna turn this off, have the an event organizer come up. I have a little map, we'll turn on, do you mind turning on the light? On a little map for you to kind of talk about your layout. It's a chance for you to, if you could share about your hours, what will be happening, what activities will be happening. I know this map's tiny, but if you could use that, any plans for restrooms, and then ways businesses could take advantage or help with your event is what we're looking for. That was a long list, but I'll kind of coach you through it. So I would give any event maybe 5 or 10 minutes to talk. And then if people have concerns or questions or there's ideas about how to better optimize your use of downtown, we can start to lift them up. Does that seem fair? And okay, so who of you lovely ladies would like to go first? Carla is ready. She's got her boots on.
Can I ask one
Right.
thing?
Yeah.
We didn't see a place
Then
on
y'all
there
can go
for the
first.
stage if we were
Are
wanting
you
to.
going?
Oh yeah, I will add that.
Okay.
I meant to, I realized after I sent it out. Thank you for
Do you
saying.
not wanna go first?
No, I don't care.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, you want to present your event? Okay.
With what
So-
Mr. Brock said.
And you have this map, Mr. Terry. Do you want to use this just to point out where you plan to have things? I know it's tiny. but use the number.
So
And
is,
if you want to mark on it.
when you get old, you get these for sure. All right, so we'll be closing down. If you got your thing, we'll be closing down C, A, D, B, and E. Now, if there's a business in F, because we understand that if we're shutting down this other stuff, that affects the business in F, that we will gladly spread our car show out further down the road to be in front of your business too, to help people be down there. But in years past, we've had enough room that C, D, B, A, and E has accompanied. Now, we're gonna do a 5K, we're not doing a 5K? Okay, so if we don't do a 5K, we won't need G shut down, but if we was to have enough time to do a 5K, G would only be shut down from what? 6 to 9, something?
10 latest.
So you're saying you're shutting down from Chancery Street, Main Street from Chancery Street down to at least North Spring Street.
Yep.
And then potentially also that part of East Main beyond North Spring Street.
We've never used that.
We've never used it, but, let's say this too, the last we've been downtown 2 years, it's rained both times. So it is, when we was at the fairgrounds, we had 180 cars every year. So down here, we've had about 90, and we've not had, we not needed this down here. But we would gladly spread our cars out further, because we understand that if you're down here,
Yeah.
and we shut it down right here, you're still not getting no traffic, all you're gonna get is what's coming down Spring Street. So, we're not here to hurt a business, we're here to help the community and help your business in any way we can. Our event will, somewhere in here, it is a car show, and we have amplified sound. We could possibly have a live performance. We do have tents and canopies, but that's with, that's
all
around,
right here,
that's
right?
all around in front of the Chamber of Commerce right here.
Okay, right here.
The barricades, of course, is because the road's closed. We do sell food, we do not sell alcohol. We do put up we used a grass lot right here and put a line of banners that are sponsors. We have a $250 level of sponsors, and we put a real nice, I wish I had a picture of it. We took what cattle panels, y'all know what cattle panels are, they're nice big wire panels, and we put them across through there, then tied all the banners to them. And then we put one banner in the corner of the grass lot, which is right here.
Yeah.
We put that banner about right there to advertise for the event, was it 2 weeks before, I think? And I met with, what's your guy that, Hank, is that his name?
Yes.
That he come out and probes the ground, because there's water lines and electric lines and stuff that does in there.
Square too. I think you said that.
We did.
I'm
We
catching up.
don't shut down in front of the post office right here, they have access. How did that?
Oh, so
work?
they can get out with their trucks.
Yes. The only electrical generator we had last year was with one barbecue trailer, or, oh, no, barbecue trailer was. I don't know, there was one or two, but Brent Nunley, and here's the thing. Our event has always been that if you can supply the event with barbecue, just saying that, or hamburgers, we don't let nobody else sell there until it becomes the point that you can't. We want you to get your most bang for your buck if you have a food trailer there. So if you're selling funnel cakes, we only have one funnel cake person selling. That way, you're not competing. Yes, ma'am?
How many food vendors do you have? Food trucks?
Last year we had Bojangles, which they're not here now, but we had.
No.
Brittany.
We had
Last year we had.
Zaxby's, that's why, I'm sorry, we had Zaxby's, and we had,
Hickory
somebody.
Creek Barbecue.
Hickory Creek
We had a
Barbecue.
hamburger stand,
What about Jim Bob?
Jim Bob was here with his pork rinds.
and there was popcorn.
Did you do pizza, Pop John's or
Did not.
somebody with pizza?
No,
I was the break lady here.
But we would take more as long as they're selling different things. You know, if they were selling corn dogs and nobody else selling corn dogs, then we would take a corn dog person, but we're not gonna put 5 hamburger people in there because then nobody benefits from
I'll show you a rough idea of how many food.
it.
I'm putting 5 down.
Of course, this year being an election year, I'm sure we'll have people that are running for office will come by a booth. That's a big year. Elected officials filming, you know. Yes, ma'am.
What exactly are the hours that the street closure would be taking place?
If we do the 5K, it shuts down. I think they've been shutting it down, Brian, you might correct me, about 6 o'clock in the morning. And we're usually wrapped up with the car show and cleaned up off the street no later than 3, but usually it's been 2 o'clock. But I'm gonna say, the car show runs from, 10.
On this page, on the wall, the time.
I said that last time, that we're not an all day, we're not an
Oh,
all
yeah,
day.
I got
event.
6 AM to 2.
Yeah. Our car show goes from either 9 or anything.
Nine.
It's 9.
I do.
I think it was 10.
Oh, it was 10. We started letting cars in as soon as the last runner came across.
Because of the
Yeah.
5.
Yeah, we had to back it up because we had the race.
Yeah.
And then the car show ends at 2, and by the time the car show ends, most everybody's broke down. And we're out of here cleaned up, and then we move to the strip.
And there's no food trucks downtown near that event.
No food trucks, there is food vendors.
At the car show,
Yes.
okay.
Are any of those downtown businesses that are the food vendors?
Nobody has ever stepped up and wanted to be one.
Well, I've got a restaurant, I don't really wanna have a food truck in a restaurant.
The
I think having more barbecue trucks out here and closing the streets will affect my business. If you can do less food trucks,
Okay, but
that would
take
compensate.
into consideration Autumn Street Fair and how many barbecue vendors there is on the street that day.
I did the same amount,
we
I did the
have
same
one.
amount that Saturday as I did the Saturday before.
I'll tell you what I'll do, and I'll bet you $100. I'll bet you $100 bill that you give me an average of every Saturday, how many customers you have in your store on a Saturday, an average all year long. I'll bet you have more on a Saturday back to the strip. If it's pretty weather, now I ain't talking about if it's pouring down rain, it's pretty weather, I'll guarantee you got more customers, do more business during the day. I can't help the nighttime portion.
Right.
I can't help the people come to the strip, but I'll guarantee you during the day, because I know last year, when it rained, every person that was at back to the strip up here around the courthouse went to your place and ate. And there was 30 of them.
Yep.
And I'm not being hard, Joe, I'm
Well,
just saying, if you want a barbecue truck down here, if I can make you happier, it's $100 booth rental, we'll give you a barbecue truck. I can't guarantee.
How about I
that,
just
but
pay the $100 and just keep my restaurant?
then,
And I'll help you guys out.
or how do you wanna help us out?
But
You
then
wanna
I'll
donate, you wanna, I tell you what,
I'll do
we'll
the
advertise for
$100.
you. We'll advertise for you if you donate 10% of your sales from that day.
Yeah.
And that's the way we can work together. What I'm saying is there is ways that I promise you, we can benefit you.
Right.
Because we can market your thing that you're doing stuff. We have people that go out on the strip that say, oh, we're gonna give 10% to Back to the Strip, and I promise you, have never give a penny. I will not call them out, because that'd be uncalled for. I will say this, there was one lady, 2 years ago that come from Woodbury and set up, me and Mary stopped at her booth, we was walking down through there, and was like, cool, and it's a sign that says, we're gonna donate 10% to Back to the Strip for a lemonade stand. Never heard from her, never
Well,
seen her.
I was gonna pay for a vendor booth and then just not go. Does that,
Look, and that tickles us to death, because that gets us, what you don't understand is every dime of this money goes right down here.
right, how many food vendors do you have downtown?
5 is what we come up with.
Yeah.
And it's
But we only have
and it's
one
$100 entry fee?
for any person that sells food. If you
Right.
sell food, it's $100. If you sell, and I have to look at it, 25 or 50.
I think what Joe's asking is, he will pay the $100 if you will not put a barbecue truck.
Actually, I'll pay $500 if you don't do any food truck.
Yeah.
There's your $500 donation.
There's
Go
Here's
to
the
the
thing though, when you come to street events, people's looking for food on the street.
Well, like, pork rinds, shaved ice, desserts, stuff like that.
Okay, now, with that being said, how's that Fernie Tops?
Right.
Well, he gets to use it too. He gets the business downtown that
Yeah,
I'm
but if
taking.
you're telling us not to have a food truck, but you're telling us we can have shaved ice and pork rinds, this, that, and other, how is having shaved ice, which is basically ice cream, beneficial to Tops?
What's the totally difference?
No, it's not. A hamburger's totally different than barbecue.
Well, I was gonna do the 500, that way all the
Yeah,
downtown
but-
businesses have a chance to make some money.
But how does you, now, wait just a second, because I'm not being, how does you giving $500 help her business?
Well, she has a retail.
Okay, but how, you said it's gonna help all the downtown businesses.
She
How
don't have all
do
the
you-
restaurants downtown.
What restaurants?
Metro Deli, Tops, Kenny's, Vanilla Bean, Juicy's.
Okay,
Eagle Bottom.
are they here?
No, but I'm here.
I
I was the first
understand,
one
and
here
that's the reason why I'm
downtown.
trying to work with you. I'm trying to work with people that are here and make this work for you, because you were one of the
I
ones that
speak
are
for a lot of
standing
the
here.
businesses downtown.
How do you speak for all
Can
of
y'all
them?
work?
I talk to
with
them.
Yeah.
But they don't come here. They're not in this meeting.
Can we have maybe a proposal for an alternate hours of street closure? Like a lot of the downtown businesses, like Joe, you don't open up for lunch until when, 11?
10:30, 11.
10:30 or 11, right? And so if you've got street closure from say 6:30 till 10:30, and then you have the 5K, and then you have maybe a parade of cars at 10 that begins at 10. You've got 30 minutes for spectators to come watch. You do a loop, you know, you can actually do a
That's
parade
not-
of the cars.
That's not what we do up here. We
And
don't
then,
do
but
it.
then move it, and then park the cars and have the actual show at the farmer's market. And that way it frees up Main
Because the
Street,
farmer's
and then
market
it's just
is-
still right
The
there.
farmer's market is going on at that time.
Yeah.
So are you gonna kick them out for us to be there?
No, but I mean, as far as space goes, I don't know what the accommodation for space would be.
It's
Okay,
the
but the
same
main-
way
okay.
down to the bottom line,
What
they don't
about-
list here.
So the main discussion right now is because food vendors are down here. That's the main.
Well, just with the strict closures and
To do the right
the
thing.
extra food vendor, that's gonna cut into our
That's what
revenue.
we're trying to do also.
Everybody and what they do. I don't think everybody knows what the times and how many vendors and how many people and what exactly everybody wants.
Okay, and you make a very good point. I tell you something you could put in this to make it easier. Put a stipulation on how many food vendors you have at it, at any event.
That needs to be addressed.
Well, I think
I
that's
mean-
why I asked.
'Cause that's where the
Because
concern's at.
Because that's a concern and that's why we're here.
Okay, let's think about that though. Are you going to limit autumn street fair?
Are you gonna leave Creek Free?
We're going.
How about
Why don't we just stop, why don't we kind of dig into that instead of kind of moving on, let's dig into it. So what's the impact of limiting food vendors? So you said Autumn Street Fair, let's just focus on the events in this room because those are the people that are here. We'll talk about, so if you can't have food vendors, what's the down? We heard that people expect street food. So or expect food vendors or food trucks or whatever because it's out in the street and all that kind of stuff. Okay, are there any other negative impacts of not having food vendors? And not to discount that, but just to see what's the landscape of that.
And with that being said, our barbecue vendor is the postmaster.
Oh, right, yeah.
So it's Britt Nunley. So it is somebody in McMinnville, and he sponsors our event plus buys a food vendor spot, and then the money stays here in McMinnville on top of that. I don't think do we have an outside right now this last year? Do we have an
I think
outside?
the hamburger is not from Warren County.
Exactly.
He was from out of town.
So let's get
I
back
think he
to,
was from out of town.
so what are any other negative impacts of having food vendors for downtown events? Any other ones that come to mind?
Okay, like in my event, of course, we'll talk about that when I get up there, but like with Relay,
That's 90%.
90% of my teams are doing food.
Okay, all right. So that's a big part of your event.
I mean,
Okay.
and the thing about it is 90% of that money that they take in is coming to the Relay
Right.
fundraiser.
So that's kind of a
So-
part of your thing, okay? So any other negative impacts of not having food vendors that people can think of?
Well, I literally come to the Autumn Street Fair just to get popcorn, I'll be honest. I mean, that's
So
just honest, I come for
So
popcorn.
sometimes food vendors are destinations, they're
Right.
the attraction, so they could be the heart of the event, or they could be the attraction of the event.
But I'll say this, when you come down here for popcorn, we wind up shopping.
We do wind up in the
Oh.
yeah.
So-
I always eat at your place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I got AC.
Yeah.
So what if there are food vendors, but we try to make sure that they don't conflict
Or don't have three, have one.
Right.
Or maybe like a first year event, just do one food and that's it. But then as you get, say you have 15,000 people, then you can have set, I don't know, there's gotta be a ratio.
Joe, can I ask one question to you, because you offered $500 if we didn't have none?
Yes.
If 2,000 people that come back to the strip, that come down here and walk around at 12 o'clock want to eat, can you feed 2,000 people at 12 o'clock?
Right at 12?
Can you feed 2,000 people in a day's time at your place?
Heck yeah, I can.
I believe you're being unrealistic. I'm not being mean, but you can't accommodate all these
From
people. So if,
10:30 to 4, I could probably feed 2,000. But there's other restaurants here. That's the thing. Between five
and I
restaurants,
understand that,
we can feed that many.
Look, we will promote them other restaurants too and help them in any way we can. But you can't. Have you ever been anywhere? All right, let's go. You ever been to an event outside anywhere?
I just know the car shows. There's not a lot of food vendors at car shows. The ones I've seen, there's not a whole. There might be one or two.
So let's kind of get back to the actual issue that we're dealing with, and that is food vendors, and just to kind of ground it back at this event instead of trying to compare it to other events, because your event is unique. And
Well,
so,
it's not so much unique as it's just like all the other ones. What I'm getting at is people come to an event and there's not enough down here to accommodate if everybody wants to go eat. That's the reason why they go by and get something, and they might get a snack and then go to Joe's and eat. Or go to Tops and get something, or Vanilla Bean. I don't know what all's down here. I don't know what all's open on that Saturday, but.
I think they're all open on
Okay.
They're all open on Saturday. So what if there's kind of a compromise where maybe you have 3 or 4 food vendors, and none that conflicts with the food that's already here, and I can get you a list of the types of food that's already here. And then, and also potentially you help to promote the other restaurants.
Yeah,
that
there's
are
gotta be a
downtown.
way for us to somehow help promote these other businesses
Yeah.
too.
I think that would show a lot of fellowship towards these downtown businesses.
Okay, with that being said too, it'd show a lot of fellowship between them downtown businesses if they stepped up and supported back to the strip in any way. And I'm
Well,
not
is there
being
an
mean, I'm
opportunity-
just saying, you're calling facts and I'm calling facts.
Because we have to promote the people who give us money.
It does all we can do. If you've ever seen the back of one of our shirts, we have 200 and something sponsors. And it does, all we can do to get them on Facebook, we actually had some person step up, I'll get with you in just a minute, ma'am, since I took over this meeting, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and, you know, and I'm just gonna say, we do need to wrap this up and get to the other ones, so.
Well, let's go ahead, do we need to present anything else? Has
Let's
anybody got
see.
any?
We would like our fees waived for Back to the Strip, because all that
Board,
money
that's a board.
is.
That's
Oh,
a
that's a
board.
board, sorry,
You
okay,
gotta
you
go to
just
the
need to
board
throw
for
that
that.
I
out
don't
there
think this
somewhere.
is actually a thing this year is what
Okay,
this is gonna be put in, am I right? No, that's gonna be.
okay.
Okay, so, any public safety needs, any other needs that?
We have, an insurance policy in place every year that protects downtown and us, that downtown requires us to have a, $90 million, insurance
We
did
policy.
use trash cans.
We did use trash cans, and we did not use the stage last year, because we did use it the first year,
We
we
want
did not
spectrum
use it
right.
last year. Please.
And we did bring our own porta potties in.
And we
Oh,
did
you
bring-
bring-
We do bring in our own porta potties, we have them set up on the corner of,
The
post office, and then some, right?
There's some right
They're right
here.
back here.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wanna just address one last thing that I don't think we settled on, and that is the use of Main Street. So it sounds like you were thinking about just going to Spring Street. Is that gonna be what you're gonna present or hope for when you,
Well,
in your application, or do you think you will go down to the end of Sparta Street? And I guess
We have
maybe,
not used that before.
okay, so,
You're saying you only wanna use that if that's what businesses want.
If the businesses want it, we can spread our event out further.
And if I remember correctly, Vanilla Bean was represented here last time, and she said, I would love for y'all to come further down the street.
And we didn't, in our defense, I'm sorry that we didn't think about the fact that if we close it down to here and don't put nothing down here, you're still affected.
I
the
think at
same
some
way.
point that there was some business owner that had asked us not to go beyond Spring Street in the past. I can't remember if that was Joe.
That was Joe.
Yeah, Joe didn't want us to because he could have access to Spring Street.
Is that still right? You would prefer us to stop at Spring Street?
closed.
I would like,
It was closed in the morning.
Only for the
Yeah,
5K. Only for the 5K.
And then
I
they
think
go-
it never
It
got
was
reopened,
closed
yeah,
until 2, it was closed.
I think it never got reopened after the
Okay.
fact.
that's why we're doing this thing, so it won't, those things don't get dropped.
Yeah,
Well, if that was an issue last year, we will make sure that if we have.
And
a
we was
5K,
not aware of that.
We
It
will.
was only-
We were told it was gonna be open.
It was only supposed to be closed.
Next time, just go move the
during
thing
5K.
yourself.
okay, so why don't this year we kind of work on keeping it just to Spring Street, and then the city can work on keeping Spring Street open. And then that way, those, you know, we can kind of start with that, and then maybe in future years grow or something like that. But at least for this year, we know you're just gonna ask for down to Spring Street.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Yeah.
And then, I don't know that we found an agreement on food vendors, but maybe
Go
Joe.
with it, go with this year, and we'll see how it goes, and we'll
Oh,
talk about it.
I am to take you up on your offer.
Hey, I will do that. I will do
Great
that.
offer.
Hey,
That's,
guys.
I am to take you
Okay,
up.
Marla,
Look
come
at
on.
one
But
more
you
around here
can't
right
get me in
quick.
trouble.
well, we got one more
Hey,
question.
you got
One more
one more.
question for Back to the Strip.
On the food vendor issue, I keep hearing Joe, because he's the only restaurant over here, and we're not picking on you, you just have to be the only restaurant over
I got
here.
tough skin.
I know you do. But it's like, why can't you promote my business? We need you to promote our businesses, we need you, that's what the downtown people who own businesses keep saying, we need you to promote our businesses. But you need to promote your business too. Because if we have 2,000 people down here and I own a restaurant, I'm putting 2 teenagers out here with trays, with samples, and we keep on saying, this is, you're gonna get this, child eats free, or 10% off if you come and eat at my restaurant. We bring people in from out of town that don't know what Collins River barbecue is, and don't know what Tops is, and don't know what Vanilla Bean has.
But I should have to advertise my own restaurant, because you shut the streets down. I mean, I do all
But
kinds of
if you're willing to
advertising.
sponsor like you're saying, that puts you in a different position altogether.
Right.
I'm gonna say one thing, I want everybody to understand, this ain't nothing personal, okay? This is just business, we walk out this door, I wanna be friends with everybody, I'm the easiest person to get along with. When we're business, I'm gonna tell you exactly the way I think, exactly the way my opinion is, and that's what I want from y'all, that's the only way we're gonna work this out. I'm not mad, I'm not upset, but I do want to tell you that it's just business, walk outside the tree, I'm gonna shake everybody's hand, be your friend. I want to say God bless you, I hope you have the greatest day in the world, and I hope
Okay,
all this
so-
works for everybody.
And we're trying to do the right thing for our community. Bottom line.
Thank you for letting us come up.
So. Okay, all right, why don't you go ahead. So, talk about how you're using the layout, what's going on in the different areas, your hours.
Where is B? Because I cannot see where.
The
B is.
courthouse.
It's
Courthouse.
okay. So with our event with Relay, we do Chancery Street down to East Main. And the reason we do our Spring Street is because Joe asked us to. So if we grew big enough to fill up all of ours, then we would go, but not until. We close the streets. What, and after the first year, and even last year, we backed it up last year to not close the street till like 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock. So like this year, we're backing it up to even 3:30. So we're not closing the streets, but still, we've got to make sure everybody's off. We will close the Court Square on both sides at around noon, because that's the time our vendors will come in and start setting up. But we will leave Main Street open, you know, so people can continue to get down the streets to their businesses till 3 o'clock. Or 3:30, we're thinking 3:30, 3:30. So,
And then you have to like at least 11 or so.
Yes. We'll get everything out. The city guys were here and helped us get the streets back open by 11.
Okay.
We will have our food vendors around the fountain side, the games over on Court Square, and I did see that you didn't have the games on the application, so. We do our Survivor lap. It worked great last year. We started at Spring Street and came down and circled and brought them back around the stage. And we will do the grassy lot. We will have live band. We'll have a live auction. We do not limit our food vendors because, again, our teams do the food. It's catfish, hamburgers. I'm thinking Covenant does baked potatoes and barbecue nachos or baked potatoes.
You had with fried bologna sandwiches one year.
Fried bologna, First National does fried bologna and BLTs. Pioneer Pediatrics did corn on the cob. You've got sweets. Somebody did ice cream, the Dippin' Dots. So, you know, it's not really so much barbecue, because we've done barbecue when we were at the football field. And we got it from Joe. Joe, you know,
She did.
we sold him off, so,
Are you saying Chancery or Spring's gonna be closed?
no,
Spring will be
spring
open.
will be open.
I'm good.
You know, that was your request, spring will be open, and like I said, but we've gotta pull some. But we want, like everybody else, we want merchants involved. So with that said, what we also do is, we, have added city decoration. So we are selling lamp signs, banners, putting them on the lamp post down here. And there is downtown merchants that are buying those. And, we left them up for about a month. You know, Hank said, leave them up as long as you want to. And I just kept on thinking.
Roughly how many people do you have? Roughly, and I know it's hard to say, but.
1,500, 1,000, 1,500. I mean, it's, you know, just depends on how hot it is. you know, that's the big thing is the temperature. We had more survivors this past year than we've had in several years. It's an easier walk for them. It's easier for them to get in and out. What else am I leaving out? Questions?
I've got a question. You want the square, that your area shut down starting at noon, and your vendors start coming in at noon. And this will come up with every event, Darlene's not so much, but we can't go there at noon and make all the cars go away in 5 minutes. We have to start before, it sometimes takes an hour and a half to do that. Our mission is to get them moved and not tow. We've not had to tow anybody at this time to a case. I think it came out the last time. What works for us is at the Christmas parade, we put out signs on Thursday. This is gonna be the deal on Saturday. It's not very good signs, but they do work.
But they work, I still have them.
But we'll work on some way to do that, but just realize if you want it at noon, we can't go there 5 minutes till to clear the streets.
And I think that's what we did last year, is we worked, you know, there was some booths that would be pulling in and they were still having vehicles. So we sat there and waited, tried to find them.
And I'm just gonna, and that'll be the deal with most of these events, that, if you're saying noon, you're actually saying, we'll start working at 10:30, yeah.
But still, you know.
And we've never had to tow a vehicle, because we worked it really hard.
And
to
we
get
don't
out.
want to
And
tow
we
a
don't wanna
vehicle.
do that. But, if the street has to be cleared, we have to do something, but we think getting the word out earlier, because as much as you like to think, everybody don't read the newspaper, everybody don't listen to the radio, so something that you're looking at in front of the thing.
Right.
That way, and we'll work on that, and just realize noon may not be noon.
Right. And we do use porta potties, we do use garbage cans. Porta potties are usually right here and somewhere else. I think the last time we lined up garbage cans right in here when we got through with them.
But that's for pickup.
Yes.
Okay.
And signs, we do sell those small signs, the $25 and $100 signs. We do line the streets with them, but when we leave that night, if whoever's bought that sign doesn't pick it up and take it home with them, they come home with me. I still have them in my office over here because people hadn't got them. So we do have signs out there. We put them, and the only way we would put one in front of a business is like if they bought it. The antique store down there, when I left, I went and put hers in the planner. Foster and Foster did the same thing. Just because I knew where it went and I didn't want to take it home. Bratcher, same way. So, you know, we try to be respectful, and Hank works with us great. He, you know, he knows what's coming. He knows that we've got to know the water lines, and so he's, you know, yeah.
Okay. Any other comments, feedback, questions?
The main sign on Main Street, like where the Park Theater, can you maybe put something, Relay for Life, come down and, you know, or something that will entice people to come down? That way, they say the street's closed, which is a lot of events, and they, you know, they're like, well, what's going on? You know, maybe something private, and they'll go somewhere else. But if you put, you know, Relay for Life, come down, you know, local, you know, lots of food, local foods, music, that's going to get people coming in, because that road right there gets a lot of people, and it'll help both of us. It'll get them downtown, mainly. They might come to my restaurant, or might come to some other food place.
I know, like on that Friday night last year, he had something going at the park, so that would mean he would have to change his sign Saturday night.
I'm just saying, make a sign, put right there where it says road blocked, put something right there in front of that.
We can do that too.
We can I can work with Frank or with you, Chief, to get an easel or something for you to put it on. I think we talked about if it just says road closed, parking, and then maybe just the name of the event. That was enough, small enough text, or,
Yeah, cause you get too busy,
no,
They can Google it.
But yeah, I understand.
Okay, so I can work on talking to these guys about a diesel or something. we can put a sign on.
Can we tag or tie a sign on those orange barriers?
Can we put a sign on the orange barrier?
I'll have,
She was just
Will they
asking.
tie, can you tie?
I'll talk to Frank about that.
Or is it gonna
I
mess
don't
with
know.
the
I don't know.
soften part?
Should the sign say where the municipal parking
It's not, all I'm saying is you can find some that people.
This is, we're supposed to do.
It's probably a lot on the sign.
Yeah, I think we'll have to, I think we're working on other signs for parking.
I reckon people want to park on the side of that big is difficult.
Yes.
But
You
It's a good
know,
idea, but it's just hard.
I think the parking signs are gonna have to be like the corner of, what's that street down there, First
First
Street and Orford Street. You know, you're gonna have to do parking those places versus when they get here to Chancery Street.
Or just say parking left and, right or something.
Yes.
You kinda gotta herd them into where you're wanting to go,
Yes.
so. Figure it's good.
Okay, thank you, Carla. All right, who wants to go next? Okay.
Mine's fast.
All right, what are you doing?
Autumn Street Fair, I mean, autism, not Autumn Street Fair. I've been there, done that. First of all, thank you guys for doing this. I've been over JA events and I've been over Autumn Street Fair, and you don't know where to go. So I do think this application process is very important, and I think it will work very well. And also, I think the downtown businesses, we do need to, listen to them, because I grew up in a small business, so it's hard on that. But the Autism Walk is scheduled for April 25th. The time period is 5 a.m. until roughly 9:30. If we needed to be shut down, be done by 9:30, we could. 10 is when we ask. But I don't know what time, I think businesses open at 10, so we could, on that. We have between 550 and 650 walkers every year and runners. We do ask for the street to be shut down for safety. And the reason we ask for it to be shut down for safety is our youngest participants and the strollers, they're running on there. But it's 5 a.m. until 10, but we're willing to do 9:30 if we need to.
Shut down at Chancery by the library or in the square?
Library.
Okay.
Library.
And then where you need it closed,
Close over there.
but just to, like, Spring Street.
Spring Street. And that would only have to be closed for 30 minutes, because once they get past there, we're done with that part. Don't you, isn't that right, Brian? Because they just come around there, so.
And so then it's rolling closures after that? Is that right?
During the race is running, it's the same route we do here, so that's.
And we provide, people every so many blocks that they're there to direct the traffic and hand out the waters. We don't sell anything at this event, it's a fundraiser. So there won't be, if there's vendors there, there may be a vendor. Sometimes the doctors may set up and they'll hand out stickers or frisbees, but there's nothing we sell at the event. We do hand out water for the runners and bananas. Any questions?
Any questions or comments?
I'm trying to remember at Tri-County Bank, their drive-through, we try to accommodate them. Is that been an issue?
I can't remember what they do on that.
Yeah, I think it's closed, because you've got that street closed.
Okay.
So,
Shane always
after
works
you
on
open
it.
the street, then that opens,
Okay.
because they're gonna come out.
But you can come through off Chancery Street.
No.
No, you
Can't do
can't.
that anymore?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't fit that.
Okay.
Come on, Brian, you live here.
And then.
I have no money to put in the bank,
Do you
though.
close name, do you need this part of, I guess you can't really get in here, but I guess you can't really get out, so it's the
Right.
whole thing, okay, great. Any other questions or anything?
Ours is easy, it's not having business time, so.
Okay, all right, citizen favor.
Our applications go out, where does it go?
Why don't you just leave it over there and on the podium, or on that table?
We have, 2 events actually, you want us to do both?
Sure.
Yes.
Why don't you go ahead and we'll figure out how to.
We'll do the next
So we've got that requested for April 18th instead of April 6th. That was last year's.
Oh, yeah, that's
event,
from
so
last year.
It's
Yeah.
a full week later.
Yeah.
So Amanda Collier, Sarah Carr, and we're members of your auxiliary.
That's okay.
Sarah, this is your chair for the event, and I chaired 2 years ago. And so the area that we request, we send a letter to the city, usually sometime
In January.
in January for the event in April, so 3 or 4 months in advance. And we request from the library on Chancery to Sparta Street. And then we also request the closure of the left half of Court Square. Yes. And then Spring Street.
Oh,
Yes. And so we like to leave these passages open for cars that are kind of trapped inside, and then we also close off Court Square at the base. And so we like to leave these areas open so that people can get out if they're parked and stuff. We have backed up our street closure event for a request for this year by 15 or 30 minutes.
Beforehand,
beforehand, so 5:15 is, was it?
I think, I'm not sure, I'll have to look at the letter, but I know that we passed it.
backed it up from last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think we asked for 5 last year, we may have asked for 5:15 or 5:30 this year, so.
Is it April 18th?
It's not a lot of time, but
we hope so.
after setting up
Yeah.
last year, we realized we didn't need as much time for the streets.
And it's only a 3-hour event.
So it'll be
It is from 6 PM to 9 PM.
So like a 10 PM kind of closure.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
sounds about right.
Oh, yeah.
So we asked that the streets open back up at
9:30.
9:30,
Okay, great.
so that, we can work on the flow. This is the main fundraiser for our organization. We are growing every year. Last year,
And more than 20 businesses. We involved the downtown businesses and we had more than 20 last year.
How many participants did you have last year?
How many people that came? We had 300 bodies, I think. That's ticket sales, artists.
Right.
That's hard to count.
Is that enough to justify closing the whole downtown though? That's what I'm getting at.
Right.
Can we consolidate that some, cause you're closing everything up for 300 people.
Well, we're not closing anything up because all the businesses are, open.
Yeah. So the whole point of the event is that it encourages people to go in and out of
Can you guys promote more for this coming year, and maybe increase more people than 300?
Yeah.
I gotta ask you something, Joe, because all of these things I eat at your place, either before,
Yeah.
during, or after.
Yeah.
Right.
So, is that something that really you can tell on, I mean, in my mind, Autumn Street Fair, it is so packed in there, I can't move on most of the event. I mean, so,
Not really us, I'm kind of just considering everybody downtown
Okay.
too, not
Which
just
is
me.
why we backed it up to 6 o'clock, so that we would have, there are several businesses who are closed, many are not.
Right.
Many stay open, but there are several who aren't affected by a later start date for an event like this.
Right.
And we do wanna encourage foot traffic, that's why we have, we
That's
work
what
on
this event is
detailed
for.
maps.
Yeah.
That, we pair artists with each of the businesses, so
Right.
we're trying to encourage people to go into every single participating business, and interact with the owners.
The artists and all that.
And the
right?
artists as well, so that it kind of a community spirit event, so,
Are there ways that the downtown businesses can help you get the word out? I mean, that would be, is there a way that you can leverage the fact
We
that
can do
they all
Facebook
have?
pages and we need to, like.
We can join up.
And
Yeah.
promote all that, so.
Yeah.
this is just snacks too, it's not meal.
Right.
Right.
It's just hors d'oeuvres.
just light hors d'oeuvres, and we do, we offer, a catering menu, but we tap Kimmy for that. We talk to Kimmy and other businesses, and
Right.
if you all wanna do that as well, I'm sure some
We
of
can
our
work that
local
in.
businesses would love to have some barbecue.
I just wanna see, I'd like to see it grow just for 300 people, just.
Sure, yeah,
to
we
get
would
more.
love that as well, yeah.
So,
And we think that leaving these streets open would give us that opportunity, especially considering that several of these downtown businesses are law offices and things that are
They're
closed.
closed already.
Yeah.
Right.
And they
But
may
you are
not
gonna
have
leave
the
Spring, you are
staff.
gonna leave Spring Street open, that you said it's closed.
We leave them closed because
Okay.
we've added, how many new businesses? 3
Well,
from.
Kimmy's is on Spring.
Right, so we've added 3 new businesses just to our other downtown event alone, and we're hoping that we'll have even more from Spring Street participate in Sip and Savor next year.
Okay.
So,
I had a question that Tops gave me, last year they had a guy come in that, had been drinking a little bit too much and threw up in the bathroom and stuff like that. Is he liable, as for his business, if he didn't serve anything and they walk into his business on your insurance, or?
They wouldn't be liable.
That wouldn't be liable, so.
no, and we're hoping.
The Tops would not be.
Okay.
We're talking about some facility options for the event, but we would need to definitely have some sponsors to help us pay for like outdoor bathroom facilities.
We talk
It's
about
not
porta
something
potties every time, but we haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you think that that would be a better option.
That might,
We can add that to our discussion.
yeah. That'll let that people going into the back and have fallen or something and some kind of, suit or something.
Right.
If they get porta potty.
No.
Yeah, he didn't serve. But he was just wondering if he would be.
As Main Street Director, it's also my job to help with promote any event, and, Sip and Stroll is definitely being on the radar because it does promote downtown businesses and getting people to come in and eat, drink, shop, all the above, so.
And Joe, we do get everybody, we get people from out of town coming to this event, so
Right.
I think it's good for.
I mean, I like this event. I just want people to just
I understand.
promote. That's the key.
Well, I think that's a great, I think there's a lot of opportunity here for businesses to help promote and you guys to create tools that they can
Yes.
use. So either like co-hosting on social media or even creating graphics that they can share on their Facebook or.
Well, I think this process that you're
We're working
doing
on building
opens up communication across the board, but.
Yeah.
We're working on building those kind of tools. That does again take time as a volunteer organization.
Right.
And this is really nice because we're seeing the numbers that other organizations are having attend, and so the idea that this could potentially be something as large as a relay, wouldn't that be wonderful? To have 1,500 people participate. That would be we would definitely need all hands on deck for that.
You can talk about that or then.
Is there any other comments or questions about this event? No, okay, move on to the other.
And the
I have
other
anyone
event
else, so
is,
you-
Christmas in the Park, and it's basically, it's almost the same, isn't it?
Christmas in the Park is the same layout. I think that this year we asked for the street closure to be
Keep talking, I'm
at,
just-
I wanna say 4:30, and I don't know that was.
I have to look back at the letter, I don't think it was 4:30.
No, it wasn't until 5:30.
It was 5:30, okay.
And it's over 8.
So road closure opens at 8 or?
Road, 5:30 to 8, the road opened back up a little after 8.
I think it was 8:30.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you're.
And that's just to allow everything to get cleared out.
And I think, we could probably do 8:15.
We could probably do 8:15.
The main thing was the bounce houses.
And the
needed
children.
To get out, and
Get
get
the
all the
children
families,
out of the road.
all the families walking on the street, get out of the street. But we intentionally placed bounce houses at, the corner of Sparta Street and inside the Fort Square parking area to kind of help funnel the flow of the walking path down to our towards Sparta Street. To make sure that those businesses don't get.
Yes, and this year we had businesses that participated on Spring Street, which helped all the flow of people. So.
And you have the train that's like going up and down,
Yes.
so there's a
Yes.
lot happening in the street, is that
Yes,
right?
correct.
And so they, we do need street closure for that very specifically because it's going from, the train goes to Pioneer Pediatric from First National, and so, we definitely don't want to have any, cars on the road with that. And by train, it is, a barrel train pulled by a gator. And we lit it up this year so that in the small amount of time that it would be near traffic, it would be highly visible. And I think we're gonna continue to do that for safety.
You guys also have a program right here, right, they do the tree lights, so there are kind of people that stand around.
And Santa Claus is at Pioneer Pediatrics.
That's right.
So.
And so where we utilize power during that event is here at Court Square and here where the other bounce house is and on the stage. Sip and Savor, we only utilize power at the fountain. We do request extra garbage cans for our events just to kind of keep the street cleaner. We feel like when more people are walking around that it's nicer to have one close by.
I'm just capturing this, you guys keep going.
Are there any questions about either of the events?
Roughly how many for Christmas and March?
That's hard to count.
I know.
We try to manage numbers by how many items we give away. And specifically our provisional members, our new members to the group do ornaments. Yeah,
We give
this
out
year
200
we,
train tickets easy.
right, so it hovers around 250 at least.
And it rained the past couple of years before this last one too, so it's kind of.
This last one I thought was a bigger one.
I thought so too.
That was
We
our
have to make
largest.
several runs.
I think we got
continue.
at least 300 cuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got parents with like our train tickets, because the parents can like the train.
Right.
And just
Some
maybe
do.
more bathrooms for the Sip and Savor, that's the only thing I can think of.
Okay.
Give them more options, use the bathroom besides alley and
Yes.
the
Oh,
spots.
I take that back. We do have more power on during Sip and
You got
Savor.
alleys under
We
the
have power
bunch.
across the street for the band.
Oh, yeah.
We have a band that sets up and then we may have another band or a musician set up. It's usually acoustic somewhere on Spring Street is what we did last year.
Any other suggestions, questions, issues?
Thank you.
Thank you guys, thank you everyone, it's been a long night. Again, all of this stuff is draft, so if you have other feedback, send it to me. And additionally, these are works in progress, so whatever is adopted, we'll continue to keep an eye on tweaking it and making it better. So, you're always welcome to send in comments and feedback. So with that, I think we're ready to go home. Thank you, everyone.
Did you walk down?
No.
There is no.
Keep on.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Get everyone.